Welcome to Uncluttered and Unfiltered, the podcast urging you to let it go and don't look back. With nationally acclaimed professional organizer Christine Stone and self-proclaimed hot damn mess radio and TV personality Eden Kendall.
Welcome back to Uncluttered and Unfiltered with me, Eden Kendall. I'm a broadcaster of many years. Christine Stone is a professional organizer. Her company is Neatly Designed. Check her out on Instagram. Even just all of her tips will make you at least feel like you're doing something to walk in the right direction of being an organized human being. I like to pretend I'm organized adjacent. Just because I know you, I'm a little bit more organized than I did.
Just a tiny bit. It's something. Something's better than nothing.
We have been saying from day one, our show is for everyone, but if you're 50 and over, you found your people. And we started hearing from ladies that were 40 plus. Let's listen to Colleen.
Hi, Eden and Christine. I am 42 years old, and I love your podcast. You are definitely my people. I love learning about the season that I'm in, and I love learning about looking forward to the seasons that are yet to come. I love your advice on makeup and everything aging gracefully, and I love the organizational tips. Thank you guys so much. I finally found my people.
Oh my gosh, Colleen.
We love it. We love it so much. So here's the thing, Colleen, dear sweet Colleen, and all of you little whippersnappers that are
youthful
people, come closer. Let us suck the youth right out of you. We have a reality check for you guys. So you mentioned that you like knowing about the season ahead.
Right.
So pretend that you've never experienced winter and it's fall right now. And you ask somebody, what can I expect in the winter? So sit back and enjoy, everybody 50 and up, because you are going to relate like you've never related before. And everybody who is not quite there yet, buckle up.
Right.
We're about to throw some truth on you, and you are going to be reeling by the time we're done. Christine, you've made a list of things that you've noticed as you get older.
I'm sure it could have gone on and on, but we have a time restraint here.
We do.
But the first thing I am going to say, because I think this was really hard for me to accept, is shoes. No more high heels. I mean, not that someone came in and stole them all. It's just I suffer after I wear high heels. My calves hurt. My feet throb. You know, pain, like where you have to take medication, like Advil afterwards. And it got to the point where I finally said, this is ridiculous, but it's just so vain of yourself that you think, I am that old that I really cannot wear high heel shoes anymore. And I fought it, I have to be honest, for probably all of my 50s. I said, I'm going to be one of those 75-year-olds who's still wearing high heels. Now, I will be honest, I went to a wedge. I don't know if that's much better for your calves, but I couldn't give it up altogether and do the flat. You're a runner, so you probably don't wear anything because you're already running so much and your calves are already being worn out. But shoes and feet problems are probably the biggest thing I notice now.
I do like a heel when I'm dressed up. It makes me feel much more put together, and I like what it does for your figure. Right. It gives you a little something. But I have 2 pairs of these wedges that are from Dr. Scholl.
Oh,
and they are comfortable. You know how people lie and say, oh, they're so comfortable. You'll see someone with extreme heels, and I don't know if they just feel guilty for wearing them. They're like, oh, but they're really comfortable. And you're like, you're lying. You're lying to your mama.
See, my thing is, that's great that they're comfortable, but how do they look? That's been my problem. I mean, I want to start designing shoes because I can never find anything that is comfortable but looks great. Mm-hmm. It looks like an old lady's shoe or an orthotic or, something, but so comfortable, by the way, just doesn't look great.
The other little hack I'm always looking for is closed-toed because I'm a runner, as you mentioned, and I don't have the prettiest toes.
Yeah.
So shoes. That's
so shoes and feet. You get a lot of feet, issues as you get older, and it's just something that you really,
suck it up.
Clothing. My daughter got married in May, and I can tell you and many other women my age whose children are getting married, it is almost impossible to find a mother of the bride dress that doesn't look like you're 80. I mean, I really think they start to put you in a box at 60. I mean, you're younger than me, but you're supposed to wear certain, quote unquote, certain clothes from like 59 on up. And if you don't fit in that box, it's like you're not supposed to wear short skirts, which believe me, I get that. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's very hard to find something to wear for how old you are and how you feel about yourself.
So there are many women who I applaud that look fantastic, or who cares if they look fantastic? They feel fantastic and the same clothes they've always worn, and that's great. What's driving me crazy personally is every time I'm shopping and I'm looking at tops, I go to pull something off the hanger and it's cropped. It's like not even, there's no chance you can't show your tummy in it. And I'm like, come on, dude, this shirt's perfect. Could you just make it go all the way? Just make it a little bit longer. So there's that.
And dresses all have cutouts on the sides, which, by the way, no one wants to see that roll of fat hanging out on the side of the dress. I mean, so my new thing, I've been thinking, I need to design shoes and design clothes because there just is nothing out there. I mean, clothes, yes, because I'm very traditional. I like a traditional kind of clothing. I'll throw in a bit of trendy, but basically I'm more traditional. But it's very hard to find clothes for women over, I would say, 60.
Not only that, but when you are looking, say you're at a store and you walk in and it is a more youthful store, like you kind of feel funny. I mean, I'm not.
I agree.
Listen, there's going to be somebody listening right now that says, "Get with it. Who cares what other people think? I thought that you are supposed to be the women who are like in your face, ha ha ha, aging." We're just being honest. You know, you walk into a place, you go into Forever 21, and you're like, "Forever 21? I'm probably not going to be."
Yeah. Or when they act like, is your daughter coming?
Yeah,
like, then you know that you need to maybe go to a different store.
I do love stores that are multi-generational, but they're rare. They're so few and far between.
Well, especially now. I feel like since COVID, a lot of stores that I loved have closed.
I hate that.
So now it is slim pickings. So anyway, aging hands. And I mean, the reason...
I'm going to sit on mine right now.
I mean, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because that's, besides the wrinkly knees that I brought up a few episodes ago, I think aging hands is the first thing I noticed about getting older. Like, why are my mother's hands on my hands? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, all of a sudden your skin has thinned and the veins are showing and you're like, what can you do for that? Minus filler, which not everyone wants to do that or is even thinking about doing that.
Wait, filler on your hands?
Oh, girlfriend, yes.
What?
Yes, I have not personally done it, but I mean, you could tell by looking at my hands. But, there are definitely cosmetic options for making your hand filling in so your veins don't show. I am not opposed to it, believe me, but I do feel like that was one of the very, very first things I noticed in my probably late 50s. All of a sudden, I looked down.
I have a friend who went to go see Cher in Las Vegas, and he came back and he said, "Oh yeah, she looked amazing, except her hands. Oh my God!"
Yes,
and it's like, well, yeah, because there's not a whole lot you can do. I don't know if that was pre-hand fillers.
Yes, but it's true. That's definitely another one. Doctor's appointments.
Yeah, I have so many now.
My God.
I mean, so many.
Between dental, colonoscopies, mammogram. I mean, it's like every other week you see your eyes, your ears. I mean.
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking that I'm driving over here today. I was like, should I go have somebody look and see if I have wax buildup in my ears?
Right.
And I think that's from watching too many TikToks where I watch them spray the wax out of people's ears with those high-powered water picks. I'm like, that looks really, really fun. So... yeah, but those are the kind of appointments you never had before.
No, never.
Yeah.
Never. You never had your schedule around all your doctor's appointments. You know what I mean? It was more like, once a year I go to the gynecologist. You know what I mean?
That's all
that was all you did. Now every other week it seems like, and don't get me wrong, it's all preventative, which is great nowadays that you can, find things early and detect things early, but it's a lot. I mean, a lot.
I can't remember the last time I went to an eye doctor when I was younger unless I needed new contacts, a new prescription, and that was usually just like a, one of these, like a LensCraft or a Pearl, one of those places. Now I'm going to the eye doctor and putting in the kind of drops you see on the TV commercials during The Price is Right for dry eye.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't put dry eye on there, but that is another thing, is dry eye. I mean, like I said, this list could be longer, but dry eye is another thing that I think most women experience over 50 because everything's dry. I mean, your hair's dry. It's just another thing you have to do.
Or to reference a joke made by our guest from a few weeks ago, Marcy, our hairstylist, she was saying, everything's dry. And I mean, everything. And we're like, that's another episode that we're going to do down the road. But anyway, okay.
Making friends. You are different because you are a runner and you have running groups and you work like all the time and you volunteer for other things and all that. I work and so I have clients, but I think when your kids are older and they're not in school anymore, it can be very, very difficult to find new girlfriends. And it's not that you need a million friends. It's not that, but just having girlfriends is so important in my opinion.
Your people.
Yeah. And so I was at a birthday party on Thursday night for a woman turning 55 and they were talking about Bumble BFF and I'm like, what is that? And she said, it's Bumble, the dating app, but it's to find friends. And I'm like, what a genius idea. I mean, I think people need to have friends later in life. It just keeps you busy. It keeps you sane, and it gives you just somebody to talk to and relate to what you're going through in life. And Bumble BFF, that was a new one.
I didn't know that. I was not aware of those things. We have a nice little thriving community now, Uncluttered and Unfiltered Ladies Over 40 on Facebook. And all you have to do is put it in your search bar and request to join, and you're in. And maybe that's a place where people want to post, hey, I want to try pickleball. I've never played that before. Is there anybody who would let me join in one day? Or,
exactly.
I'm going to get my nails done. Is there anybody who would love to come with me? I would love to see that start to form in that community because social media is traditionally... The word social means you're socializing.
Right.
Social media isn't just about showing everybody what you've already done. Maybe make some plans.
Right. I think that's great. Yeah. So that's one thing I've really noticed as my kids grew up and weren't in school anymore, that it's so you don't have the opportunity to make a lot of new friends. You still have your older friends, but new friends. Elderly parents, and we're going to be doing an entire episode on this because it's so common in people over 55 dealing or 50 with their parents. And I think because I have an elderly mother, my in-laws are both elderly, I think it is something that has really affected an entire generation of people in their 50s and 60s. So that is something I've really kind of dealt with firsthand.
Okay. And, putting those two things together, a girlfriend of mine just took a trip to Europe. And she said while she was gone, her mother was really worried about her just not being in town.
Yes.
And she said, I need to find my mom some friends. And I said, I just heard about Bumble BFF because you and I had talked that day. And I said, I just heard about this. And she's like, I wonder if I can find, this is my friend Nancy. She said, I wonder if I can go on there and find a friend for my mom who's certain age and mostly speaks Chinese. I'm like, that
might be a little difficult.
That's going to be a challenge, but we want our parents to have friends. And if it's hard for us at our age to make new friends, imagine your parents.
I know. I agree. The next one is body image. And the reason why I brought this one up, you would think, okay, like you said before, you're older, you should accept everything. And I think once you hit a certain age, whether it's 50 and you're going through menopause, 55, whatever, you look in the mirror and you go, who the hell is that? You know what I mean? I mean, and it's not that you feel bad about yourself. It's just like, who is that? I didn't used to have that stomach. I didn't used to have my butt down to the ground. You know what I mean? And so I think my mother used to say, enjoy every decade that you're in, look, because one day you'll look at those photos and you'll say, oh my God, I look damn good. And she was right. I look photos of in my 50s versus now, like early 50s, late 40s. I'm like, God, she was right. Because every decade brings on different changes, different looks, not necessarily terrible, just different.
Have you ever met somebody and somehow the course of age comes up and you expect, I think we might have talked about this already, you expect when you say your age for them to get this like wide-eyed look, like, oh my gosh, and they just look at you like you just said, the sky is blue. Like,
right.
Yeah. Yes, of course you're 56. What did you think I thought you were? So there's that too. You still feel so young and people don't respond to you in that same way.
Which brings me to desirable. That's also on my list. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I don't know when it happens. I, honest to God, do not know when it happens. But one day you wake up and you're at the grocery store and you're invisible. I mean, literally, it's not that you're ugly. It's not that there's anything wrong with your looks. It's just at a certain age, you become invisible. And nobody wants to be invisible. Nobody.
There's a human reaction. It's just part of being, it's anatomical. It's just part of being human. And there was an old Seinfeld episode where they talked about 10% of the population is dateable, where I think we look at somebody and you kind of size them up. And whether you're married, single, whatever, I think you size them up. And there is a certain something that happens in the way you talk to somebody. I'm not talking about being overly flirtatious, but you can tell when somebody is flirting with you or when they just want a tip.
Right.
There's just that difference, and you're right, the invisibility, the waiting at a bar to get a drink and being the last person to come to. When in fact, if you're going for tips, by the way, just FYI, you want to come to us before you go to the 23-year-old girl. Good. Yeah, the 23-year-old girl is kind of hoping someone else is going to pick up the tab.
Exactly.
We know about tipping because we know that we got to get your attention first the next time. So you're making a mistake if you're
and I bring this up because I hear this all the time
it's weird
from girlfriends.
To feel that way,
it's like people feel invisible. So
I agree.
It hurts a little bit to just feel like, okay, next generation, like you do feel that you don't matter.
I'm gonna share something with you that is going to sound a little bit cringe, as they say, but I'm going to just admit it. So, I love to work out, and I was going to this gym. I've recently changed gyms, but I've noticed that they would post all these videos of the class going on, and I'd be in that class, but I'm not anywhere in any of those videos. And I'm like, it's like I don't exist. It's like they made a point to be sure that I wasn't one of the ones in the video. And I thought, first of all, rude. Second of all, I won't be resharing that.
Yes.
So you don't, it's not intentional.
No, and you don't expect it, but it's just something that happens as you get older. I mean, I think I've kind of started noticing this like in the past few years. So
and
it's
I'm
nothing.
Going to say this year. This year for me.
Yeah, so it'd be right around that time. Aches and pains. I never had an ache and pain, and I'm not joking you, until I turned like 55. Didn't have one ache or pain. Nothing bothered me. Never took any anti-inflammatories or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, just getting out of bed. You know what I mean? Your feet hurt. Your hands hurt. Carpal tunnel. What do I got? I don't know. Everything hurts. My shoulders hurt. My neck hurts. It's just part of getting older, and that's why I think stretching is so, so, so important, because you're hunched over your phone, you're using your thumbs, which, by the way, that is the most painful thing ever. So yeah.
The other day I had to ask myself, do I have COVID again? Do I have the flu? Oh, wait, no, it's just 9 a.m.
Right. Yes.
I'll be better in an hour.
Yes, exactly. So that's another thing. As you get older, you notice all of a sudden things ache. My low back hurts, or you go do something you normally always did, and all of a sudden, oh, wow, my back hurts. Well, it didn't hurt 2 years ago when I did that. So anyway, we're going to have to talk about the peeing thing. Yeah, we have to talk about that.
Got to pee all the time.
Well, no, for me, if you sneeze,
Oh, you
forget
do a little?
it.
Okay.
Well, you're still young.
Well, no, but I had C-sections too, so that's why.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I do the exercises. I do what they tell you, but I'm telling you, it's always you always either are going to the bathroom or you sneeze, you cough, and you're like, oh no.
I can't arrive at a location without having to go to the bathroom. I might go, if I'm at Marshall's and I'm driving over to TJ Maxx, I got to use the bathroom again. My family can't understand it. It's like, it's the first stop. I'm like, I can't enjoy myself.
Yeah, because then I got to go.
Yeah.
Okay, now I should just go because I'll. Yeah.
And by the way, talking about it makes me have to go.
Yes, same.
And I always get in line if I go. I'm a runner. I know we ad nauseum mention that, but there's a whole culture there. And the first thing you do before a race is you get in the line for the porta potty. And I never have to go. But the minute I get in that line, I got to go. And I got to go now.
Oh, I can't go in a porta potty.
Oh, you would if you were, you'd have to. You'd have to.
Just the thought of it. Now we're going to talk about the neck. You don't have this issue because I'm looking at your neck.
I do.
But I think a lot of women, and not so much just women in their 50s and 60s, I think because of technology, a lot of people are suffering from the lines around the neck because you're constantly looking down. Of course, aging, being in your 50s and 60s, it only kind of accentuates it. But that was another thing besides hands that I noticed immediately was what's going on with my neck. Like, and I'd always stand at the mirror and like hold it up, or if I'm at the hair salon, I'm like, God, wouldn't that look better? I mean, I don't know what it is. Your neck and your hands.
It's the elasticity.
Yes.
So the movie, it was My Big Fat Greek Wedding, the second one, I think it was. There's a great scene where the mom and the aunt are next to each other, and there's a group photo being taken, and they wrap their arms around each other, and they say 1, 2, 3, and the flash is about to go off, they both squeeze the back of each other's neck to pull each other's neck back. So
Genius.
I just think if you could find a friend that could take all photos with you,
they
you could
have
pull each
tape
other.
now that you can buy that tapes behind your hair. The only problem is, Jane Fonda did that in Grace and Frankie.
Yes.
In the very first episode when she started removing the fake eyelashes, the tape around her neck. And you know what? It was so lifelike because as you get older, you start having it. When you go to bed, it's a hour-long thing, taking off everything you put on before, which goes to the next topic. It takes double the time to get ready. I used to be in and out 20 minutes, no problem. I mean, the ice roller, just all the things I do to get ready because your skin isn't as supple, your bags under your eyes, your neck is all wrinkly. You just, it takes more time, more makeup, just to kind of make yourself feel better. It's a process. I mean, I feel like we're bitching now. It's not about bitching. It's about reality. There's not much you can do about it. I definitely already simplified my makeup. I did that during COVID. So I simplified the whole makeup routine. But it's still, when you go out, you put the false eyelashes on, you do everything, and then you come home and it's an hour long before you get into bed.
And there are different levels of that, obviously, for everybody. I don't do all of those things, but a couple of nights a week when I go out, I definitely do more. And it does take longer.
It definitely does. Okay, this one can't remember anything. And I'm going to tell this story about Eden. We were on the phone doing some prep work for this podcast.
Yep.
And I'm reading this list and I'm like, I'm sure there's more, but this is enough. And then she started to tell me something and then I started talking and then she goes, wait, what was I saying? I said, you know, about this. She could not remember 2 seconds ago. And that brings me to how many of you walk into the kitchen and go, what the heck did I come in here for?
It's called the doorway effect. When you walk through a doorway, your brain resets. You can't remember. I can forget what I'm saying while I'm saying it.
Yes.
In the middle of a sentence. If I spend too much time setting up a story, by the time I get to the part where I have to tell it, it's gone.
And anyone that has an animal, whether it's a cat or a dog or probably even a bird, I have talked to that dog more times like, what was I coming in here for?
Oh, yes.
She looks at me like, I don't know. You say this all the time. Like she has this look on her face. But honestly, I can't, if I don't write it down right then, it is out of my brain. And I feel like it's because our brains are like computers and it can only hold so much information. And you kind of have to kick out some of the information in order to get more information on it. So that's something I noticed probably in my middle 50s when I was like, I can't remember what I was just doing.
The way we prioritize which information gets kicked out makes no sense.
At all.
I can remember my next door neighbor's name from when I was 6 years old. I can tell you her brother, her mother, and her father's first names, but I have no idea why I just pulled out 5 ingredients from my refrigerator.
Right, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird that you can remember some things and other things you can't.
How are we doing on our list, by the way?
We're almost at the end. I know, we're almost at the end. Well, I'm going to talk about regret because everyone says, I regret nothing. Everything happens for a reason and you are where you are in life. And I think that's great if some people believe that. I think everybody has something they wish they could have a do-over. I mean, is it earth-shattering, life-altering? Maybe not. But I think everybody, if they had a chance to do it over, they would do it a little differently in some ways, only because you know more now.
Yes.
You're wiser now. You don't get your feelings hurt as easy anymore. You know, there are so many things you feel better about yourself as you're older. You're not so touchy. You're not, so I do think if this 60-year-old brain could go back to be like 25, 30, 35, 40, you'd be different. You'd think differently, but that's part of life. It's part of growing. So I think that, regret is something everybody at some point feels that they might suffer from a little bit on some things in their life. What about you?
I agree with you. There are definitely things I would do differently. I'm 100%. But I don't think there's much benefit to dwelling in it.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Which is kind of what we've based our whole show on, which is, just don't look
dwell
back.
on it.
Don't dwell on it by any means. But I think sometimes not dwelling on it means confessing to it.
Yes.
So saying, yeah, you know what, I've been thinking for a while that I regret this. Okay, I acknowledge I regret it. All right, can I do anything about it? Nope. Should I warn someone else not to make the same mistake?
No.
Maybe, but they probably won't listen.
I've learned people have to experience things for themselves.
Right.
I have told my daughters over and over certain things, and they don't listen. But then afterwards, they go, why didn't I listen?
And you'll say, you don't have to listen. I'll just talk about you on my podcast.
Okay, and the last thing, being an organizer, I always have to mention things about organization. And is by the time you're in your 60s, let it go. There isn't anything you own that you absolutely necessary. You don't need that junk anymore. And I think a lot of people in their 60s, they come to that realization because they're downsizing, they're moving, whatever it may be. They're going into a different kind of phase in their life, and they realize, why have I been holding on to all this stuff all these years? So that is definitely something I see in my job as a professional organizer, that you really don't need all that stuff.
Word. That's it. That's what it really comes down to. That's been the premise of our show all along. And I don't think this was bitching. I think this was just a little bit cathartic.
I do too.
And for you 40 and ups, maybe you won't be so shocked when it
happens to you.
Happens.
Yeah.
It's still a wonderful life. It's still a joy to be here each and every day, and we wouldn't trade old age for the alternative. Any
absolutely
day of the week.
not.
So until we talk again, reach out to us on Instagram, on Facebook, on unclutteredandunfiltered.com. Get on our email list, please. And you know what we're going to tell you to do. Let it go.
And don't look back.